Before you watch this episode of our cityCURRENT radio show, I want to invite you to join cityCURRENT's e-learning and online personal development platform called GrowthCurrent. I'm Jeremy Park, host of the cityCURRENT radio show and CEO of cityCURRENT. GrowthCurrent is your exclusive ticket to attend virtual events with global thought leaders, national guest speakers, and experts who can help you grow personally and professionally. It gives you access to success secrets, lessons learned, learning modules, and so much more. Being online, you can join us from anywhere in the world. Subscriptions are only $8 a month, or you can do bulk subscriptions for your team. Check out growthcurrent.com to learn more and to join us in our efforts to power the good. And now, on to the show. Welcome to the cityCURRENT radio show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals, organizations, companies making a difference, powering the good. And we're going to kick it off talking about Dominion Payroll Tennessee. We are joined by their partner, Ray Fadool. How are you doing, Ray?
I am doing great, Jeremy. How you doing? You're awful lively today.
Well, it's hard not to be lively when you get to tell good stories, and so that's the fun. When you're powering the good, you feel energetic indeed. But you being a partner with Dominion Payroll Tennessee, let's go ahead and start with some context. Give us a little bit of a history lesson, and talk about obviously your mission with Dominion Payroll Tennessee.
Yeah. So listen, we started Dominion Payroll out of Richmond, Virginia in 2001 with my two business partners. And back in 2009, after I had spent 25 years with a major retailer, I decided it was time for change. Quite honestly, they were kind of probably ready for me to make a change too. But I had a couple friends say, hey, with your HR background, I'd spent about 12 or 13 years in HR with the national retailer. They said, you ought to open a payroll company. They fought with the national providers to keep their workers' comp business and that type of thing. They said, why don't you start that? So I did back in 2009, had a little payroll company, did it for about a year and a half, got a little too much for me to handle, my wife and I. Start a payroll company, it'll be easy, right? Well, it wasn't so easy. I had some very patient clients, but after about a year and a half, it just got too much for me to handle it on my own with my wife. So I sought out some business partners, and in 2011, almost to the month, we merged with Dominion Payroll out of Richmond, Virginia. And again, they started in 2001. Couple executives with ADP, one executive with ADP and one with AT&T just decided to start this payroll company out of their garage, just like me, my kitchen table. And we've grown now to 8 offices in most of the Southeast. We do have one in Denver, but that's where we're at. My ownership and my partnership is here in Nashville. We handle everything locally, compete with those national providers on a local basis. We do, again, everything from here. We support over 700 clients right out of our local Nashville office. So that's how we started, and we're just out there trying to fight the big boys from a little place. So,
well, part of that means you get to focus on customer service, and when you talk about the benefits of everything you're talking about, customer service, relationships, getting to know companies and their challenges and opportunities intimately. There's a lot of nuances, but there's a lot of opportunities there. And so talk about some of the things that make you all different. And I'm thinking especially around technology and innovation. So you've got a lot of good things going. So talk about some of the things that make you different.
Yeah, again, we do have some points of differentiation. Number one, like I said, we do have a local service office. Everything is handled here locally. A lot of our national providers, they have sales offices here in Nashville, but they cannot provide the local service. On-site training, on-site implementation, data collection. One of the big differentiators also is myself and my business partner here locally, Jason Poling. We go out and see clients and answer clients' questions all the time. I show up sometime, and I'm still kicking stones and shaking bushes, trying to help the business grow. And I walk into some businesses, and it's like, "You're a partner, and you're here." I said, "Yeah, look, I started this thing from scratch. This is my baby. It's Jason's baby, and We just like to do what we can to be a point of difference. From a technology standpoint, we have one of the most robust and functional technology suites in the industry, and it's one of the things we face, Jeremy, a lot of times is people think, oh, it's a small local company. Well, we're not a small local company anymore. We have about 4,000 clients across the entire enterprise, and we do everything from hire to retire on a single database solution. A lot of our competitors will say they're single database, but they're not. And what that means is applicant tracking, onboarding, payroll, time and attendance, benefits assistance, COBRA, employee engagement. It's all on a single database. We can compete every day with those national providers with our technology. But again, the caveat is that we do have robust functionality that will compare with anything in the industry. The other thing we can do that we can provide that those companies can't is we have 23 employees locally, about 125 in our Richmond office, which is a backup office, and we have about 200 across the enterprise. However, what we can do that those guys can't is each one of our employees has 16 hours each year to get out in the community and help organizations that support the Nashville area. They're charitable organizations, whatever they want to do with those 16 hours to support our local communities. That's what they can do. And we go into schools, we go into charitable organizations, wherever they may be, and our competitors can't do that. So that's another point.
That's where when you're asking about my energy, it's like I love hearing that very thing is, hey, we have our teams and they're an army of do-gooders, and we enable them and empower them to go out and serve in the community and make a difference. And that's the part that powers the good. Dive in a little bit into iSolved. Talk about iSolved on your end.
Yeah, iSolved is the name of our software, our solution. And the iSolved network is a network of about 100 providers like ourselves. We are the largest in the network, and it's about 100 throughout the country. And about 250,000 users now use that iSolved platform. And again, us being one of the largest, we are relied on quite often for our input and, what can we do to make that solution better? But that is the network. And again, as I said before, it's a organic, dynamic solution, ever growing. We're constantly adding functionality to our cloud-based software. But it's the third largest used software, payroll and human capital management HCM solution in the industry now. But again, we were one of the first 12 to be on the network, and we have a lot of input. So yeah, whenever we have any issues, they rely on us.
Well, I think that's where, back to the point of technology, access to resources and information, that's where you become a very, very valuable resource and asset to your clients and these companies and organizations. Talk about some of the trends or the things that keep you up at night when you look out. Obviously, there's so much going through the pandemic, but talk about some of the things that you're seeing on your end that are either trends, top of mind. What's keeping you up at night on your end?
Yeah. So listen, the biggest issue we've had, as a lot of business owners have, especially here in Nashville with such a high concentration of hospitality, is the government's reaction, the PPP, the COVID resources, and everything else. We were one of the first out there to start our webinars. We started webinars on March 6th. These webinars have now been seen by over 15,000, talking about what keeps us up at night, 15,000 viewers. We've had about 140 of these webinars now, and we've also answered over 6,000 questions live on these webinars. So what keeps us up at late at night is a moving target. This latest stimulus package is coming out, or all of a sudden someone says that you can hold off on your Social Security tax. Well, what does that mean? All of a sudden our phones just start ringing. Well, how do we handle this? And our softwares had to be ever changing, and our software providers had to be very flexible. So, it's been a tremendous, and we've gotten all kinds of kudos for providing that information for our not only our clients but the general public. They've come on and not even our clients. They've said, look, I just took a very large deal that just because we invited them to start watching these webinars, they said, listen, that's as good as we've seen. So obviously that keeps us up. We have a team that's been working full time since March on trying to keep our clients and the general public informed. So done a great job with that, and we've had much appreciation for that.
What's something that you think, either locally in Nashville or nationwide on your end as a company, but what's something that you think going through the pandemic you've learned in this process that you think you're going to come out stronger? And obviously the webinars is a great example, is putting out that information and just keeping everybody in the loop on what's going on as that information changes. But what's something that you think is going to make you stronger coming out of the pandemic?
Well, I don't think it's just going to be us, Jeremy. I think a lot of companies out there have found out that there's a new way to do things. We can be adaptive. From our standpoint, sales obviously is very big. Well, our sales staff, of which we have about 32 people across all of our 8 offices, has always been out there in the office doing the steps. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's had to adapt, working from home. Everybody's become Zoom experts. And as difficult sometimes as that can be, that we still have had to adapt, and we've had to sell. And I think that a lot of companies have learned that there's different ways to do things and be effective during this pandemic. We've all had, you and I, we talked about offices that we're working from now. I've taken over my kids' activity room. I've heard about people working from their kitchen table. We talked about garages and closets being converted. It's just, listen, the ingenuity and the adaptability of the American people is unparalleled, and that's what we've learned.
Yeah, I agree. We're making the best out of the situation and trying to continue moving forward, whatever that looks like. So on your end, go back to the volunteerism, the philanthropy, the service. Talk about that aspect and what that means for you and your team to go out and serve. As you mentioned, you empower, you give them the time, you encourage serving with nonprofits and schools and different charitable organizations. But what does that do on your end to really fulfill the heart for your team and to become a fabric of the community? So elaborate a little bit further on that side.
Yeah. So look, when I started the company back in 2009, and our partners in Richmond started it, and Jason started it, we didn't want to just be bean counters. We wanted to be involved in the community. We face a little bit of a branding issue. Not as many people have heard about us as they've heard about the national providers, and not only from a awareness standpoint, but a passion to be part of the communities with which we work, in which we live, is our purpose behind giving our employees that flexibility to go out into the community. Again, if someone hears that, hey, Dominion Payroll, great company, well, that's all well and good. Dominion Payroll, great company that's involved in the community, giving back to the community. That's what we really want to hear. Our mission is to provide education, technology, and support to the clients and people in our community that we support. And we kind of try to live by that. culture is big for us, very, very big. You know, we're in our local office, like I said, we got 23 employees. The culture, having fun and getting out in the community and sharing our story and allowing us to be participative in their stories is just very important to us. We encourage, you know, if we get down towards the end of the year and someone hasn't spent a whole lot of time, hey, you know, you still got 12 hours left. I know a Habitat for Humanity or SPCA or a church that could use your help. We have our employees all the time come in and say, hey, my wife's school could use painting. And, you know, the group goes out there and paints or clean up the yard. And we just encourage our employees to be involved in the community. It makes us, you know, not just not a taker, a giver.
Absolutely. Well, Ray, wrap up and talk about your website, phone number, social media. Where do we go to learn more about Dominion Payroll?
Yep. So we are DominionPayroll.com. We're on Facebook at DominionPayroll.com. We're on LinkedIn at Dominion Payroll. That's how you can get to us. And anytime you want to just pick up the phone and call, it's 615-577-9920, and you can get a hold of us. No voicemail. So you can get a hold of us. But we appreciate it. We love being in the community, and you know, cityCURRENT does a great job, and we appreciate the time today.
Yeah, we appreciate you being a part of cityCURRENT, that's for sure. So Ray, thank you very much for all you and your team do. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeremy.